never really imagined it as being as loving, I guess. I don't know. I always saw passion, but I never saw it as like love. I saw more angry.
I thought of it as a very vibrant and very energetic color that I just love. One of the first colors you see like on the rainbow. It is the first color I personally see on the rainbow.
To me, it was just always, I associated it with anger a lot. And like having like a jumbled mind, because just all the different directions that you can go in when you're angry.
It's stop when I'm driving, and it's pull over when there's a fire engine. I guess it had negative connotations for me. But I mean, I also associated it with roses and like heart.
I thought of sky and like clouds and stuff like that.
Blue's always been like a calming color. I think water a lot when I think of blue, and the effect water has on me.
Mainly like happiness was like a big one. Expanding, it comes from the heart, kind of a place. That's where it kind of stays and feels for it.
I had heard somewhere along the line that it was the color of insanity, so I took it to be this crazy sort of out there color.
Pretty sure it's my favorite color considering my hair.
You know, honestly, I always thought the color purple was like kind of like a melancholy thing. It was cool, relaxing, but like stable, I guess you could say.
Didn't really think much of the color purple, to be honest. If you were to just say the color purple to me, I would have thought of Oprah Winfrey or, you know, Really Good Bud.
Like curiosity is a search for meaning in the human experience.
It's definitely a lot more colorful.
I think of it as definitely more passionate and more meaningful in my life now. I realize how powerful the color can be until doing this piece. It's not just a color or energy, like just one specific type of energy anymore. It's much more powerful than I ever thought.
Now, red for me is like, it can be something soft too. It's not just about being angry or feeling frustrated. Red can also be passionate. Red can also be love. Red can also be something like sweet. And yeah, the poem helped me incorporate red into my self in a different way.
The subject is blood rushing to your cheeks to form a blush, and so like now I realize it's much more about life and experience is how I see it now. That it's like red is life.
Its variety of shades can be a variety of emotions.
Like this piece helped me find the deep sadness of blue.
I take it way more serious of a color now since I read the poem.
I consider it to be a color that can go crazy in terms of how passionate it could be, in terms of love and joy and excitement.
Still my favorite color.
Me, after this whole project, I've really gotten to see purple as kind of a creepy color to me. Like how purple could be a very odd, off-putting color, and it's just awkward enough that it stands out, yet it's not too offensive, and you can do a lot with it, with just the subtleties of it, I guess.
Now there's a sense of uncertainty to it, almost underlying pain, and revolving around, I don't know, being lost, not having a purpose.
My process was coming into rehearsal and just going through the motions. It got a lot easier once we had the fabric and once we got the music going, and it just, colors, literally, that's what happened. It just started filling in what was happening, and the whole poem just kind of came together.
Tried to tap into the poem and remember why I'm here, why I'm helping tell this story, why.
It was so quick.
It was really fast and furious. I mean, just like go with like my first impulses, and I really wanted to like get input from the actors and from the poet, and wanted to create this thing together.
I was thinking about what the color red means to me, and there are a lot of associations that come to mind, but the one that I felt, I guess, the most emotionally and physically, and the one that meant the most to me was the idea of red being very human and very physical. So I thought about, I was thinking about blood, but specifically about blush, because it's sort of like a physical manifestation or a visual representation of something affecting you strongly.
I mean, it's frightening to write something and then have to give it up and give it to someone else and go, okay, now you interpret what you interpret of it. But I think it was really cool to be able to work with Rieko and have her go, okay, so here's what I see, what do you see, and be able to kind of find a common ground of here's my image of it, what do you think?
The poem, and I just think about it for 3 to 4 days straight. Just kind of what's always in the back of my mind. Finding people was really cool because I've never done auditions before, so that was fun. Having people audition and seeing the different takes and stuff on it, so it was cool. It was a fun process for me.
My process was really engaging. I worked with Matt discussing Beau's poem and finding the points where I could clarify what Beau meant to me and what he went through while writing, and finding the points where we matched up in our own lives.
Basically, this video coming together, it was going to have a bunch of small little vignettes, which it still is, all tied together. Originally, it was supposed to be one object or colored object that is in each scene that would tie each of the scenes together. And I thought that might be way too subtle. Thought of thinking of what objects I might use, and one of them I thought I might use was a purple man. And then I realized I could probably put him in every single little vignette, and I did. And well, I hope it worked out.
This is the first time I've ever had something that I've written be performed by other people. It's the first time I've ever had something that I've created be shared like this, so it was a really affecting experience. Like I'm getting choked up. The first time we did rehearsal, the first time everyone came together and they all experienced the poem, and as we progressed and I've seen it moving through these people, it's been a really just gratifying and inspiring and motivating experience.
Trying to get out a particular emotion or a sense of feeling in a stream of consciousness sort of manner. It's not broken up in any way, although the text itself could be broken up, but the feeling and the emotions are connected through that fabric.
Poetry doesn't have to be anything. Poetry can just be thoughts on a page. It has no limitations and it has no expectations.
I think it's really appropriate that this series is called the Color Series because I see colors when I think of poetry. Colorful answers or suggestions of answers to the questions we have.
Poetry, to me, is a language. It's like a universal language. It speaks our truth. It's our language of truth.
Poetry is prose written by the heart.
A real testament to the power of the human language. One, there's a lot to be said about poetry. It's maybe an attempt to define the undefinable. I'll never see poetry as prose. There's great stories in poetry, and there's great emotion, and there's a lot of great subtext, and a lot to be read into the poetry.
A way to speak what we feel and connect it to another person, to know that we're not the only one who feels it.
Enlightening. It's always, there's always some grain of truth or little piece of knowledge that I'm always seeking for, that I end up finding in poetry.
Powerful. It's like this color became powerful to me now. I never thought of it as that powerful before, but I think it's so powerful.
A journey for me.
Vivacious.
Tender.
Swirling.
Sundance.
Inspiring.
Surprise.
Right.
Fun.
Clusterfuck. Honestly, I'd say instinct.
I felt a big sense of relation, I guess. I sort of felt what the author was writing there. And sometimes it's really hard to do with a lot of works, trying to get where the author's coming from. But because it's such a universal subject, I think everyone has that in them to kind of relate to.